All right, we are. I'm Dave. I am David Unterreiner. This is my wife, Amy Unterreiner. We're excited to be here at Sedona Wolf Week, and we're going to kind of be talking to you a little bit about how our passion for zero waste in our household and our passion for environmental sustainability is related to wolves in so many different ways. And we're excited to kind of walk you through our life and our process. And Amy's been the catalyst for this whole process in our family. So I'll let her get right to it.
Yeah, I mean, Dave and I have been zero waste consumers, I would say, for the last 3 years or so. COVID time has been difficult. It's tricky to buy everything without plastic when you're really looking at all bacteria and everything that people touch. You really want to not touch the same thing, and having a little plastic barrier helps the mentality there. But we want to encourage each and every one of you to take action in your local communities, and that will have a ripple effect through the global environment to empower species longevity. And we're all connected, and wolves are the perfect example of how ecosystems interact and can really thrive together. I've learned that if you remove the wolf presence, the entire area suffers in vegetation, water quality, prey, and other predator health, as well as losing a keystone species in the world. It's important now more than ever to protect life and support any and all entities supporting quality of life for everybody. So when I got involved with the Working Circle, I had been a horse trainer for 12 years. I went with Karen Vardaman on a ranch field clinic to learn how Hillary and Andrew Anderson sustainably raised their cattle. And they live in a dense predator environment. It was wild that they lived around so many grizzly bears, cats, big cats, and many other overwhelming stresses that come with being cattle ranchers.
One of the first times that I really got involved with this whole process actually happened while Amy was on this retreat. We were numerous times we spoke every night, and she was so excited about different aspects of this. And we're talking one night, and I'll let Amy tell the story because she was there. But this is really the first step for me that got me excited and made me actually understand, okay, this is a real thing. And Amy's excited about it. I'm excited about it. But you go ahead and tell.
Yeah, so, like Dave said, we were on the phone. It was near sundown, and I saw an elk running as hard as it could across the adjacent hillside. And that previous week, Hillary had talked about, if you see a prey, an ungulate running, there's probably something that's chasing it. And sure enough, I looked just past the elk just behind it, and there was this dark figure, very clearly a wolf, chasing it down. And this elk came in to 3 others. They all stood and faced the wolf. It stopped about 20 yards out, and it paced around a little bit, and eventually just lost interest and ended up chasing a deer coming out of the gulch on another side. But truly sharing that with Dave real time, oh my gosh, this is what we just learned about all week. And the prey actually stood their ground and the predator stood off. It was just spectacular. I could not have imagined anything better.
Yeah, and being on the other end of the phone, it's like you hear your significant other yelp or screech or whatever you happen to do at that time. It scared me. I'm like, what's going on? And when she actually calmed down and the whole, you could see it all kind of play out in my head. I had this vision. I've never been to Montana, so I had this awesome vision of how cool it is. And then to put this scenario in my head, and it took a while because it kind of played out before Amy was able to relay it to me, but it really tied it together for me being so far away here in Colorado, and her to have that experience and me to kind of be there through the phone. And I feel like really after that point, the energy, the electricity, the passion behind our cause was starting to take shape. And I knew at that point, Amy was having so much fun on this retreat and learning so much about it, it was like, that was the moment I was like, okay, now I'm engaged, because we've already seen tangible steps, and we've already seen tangible connections to Amy's passion going into this, and now wolves as well. And, the connection, as we talk about throughout the rest of our time here, is truly remarkable. The connection of a wolf in a forest all the way up to what's going on in your kitchen. And this was a big first moment, I think, for us.
Yeah. And I totally fell in love with the experience, and it changed how I interacted with my peers when I got back to Colorado. And I really started talking about ranchers' rights and how to help them protect land from environmental degradation. It was huge. And I didn't quite have all the pieces to connect, all the dots in my mind. I knew there were certain labels and things I wanted to pay attention to, as well as I knew we listened to a lot of podcasts, and we've heard, we really just started a lot of research into the environment, into how each person can make a difference. And wolf reintroduction has been around through Europe now for a long time. And it's been fun to kind of watch that and track that.
And learn from it. Yeah. And, we've been listening. Amy's kind of turned me on to a lot of different podcasts lately, not only involving wolves, but also sustainability and throughout our environment. And it's just been so fun to listen to kind of a podcast or read a blog about a wolf, and it's totally disconnected from a podcast or a blog you read about the environment. But as you learn about both, you begin to just tie these aspects together, and you realize, wow, how close we are connected. And my parents always talked to me about fundamentals and how important they were to everything, to every day. And the more we learn, we realize, okay, we have this goal of a zero waste lifestyle, and we have this goal of a sustainable planet. Where does it begin? It begins with fundamentals. And the fundamentals are in the forest. They're in the growth. They're in, the regeneration. And
in the consumer.
And in the consumer, for sure. But it starts with that forest, the healthy forest. And you need the wolf for that. And we, to bring it all the way to the kitchen, a healthier forest means cleaner air. Cleaner air means healthier people. Healthier people are making better decisions. And better decisions lead to a more sustained world. And it's like, wow, all the way back to having a healthy forest. And it's overwhelming to kind of try to tie all that together in your head if you haven't been studying or researching and listening to it all. But, we started to realize it, and then we started paying attention in our own home, and Amy got really passionate, and off we went.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we started paying attention to every little label, every little insignia that was environmentally friendly. It was predator. It was non-GMO, organic, good for the environment, and on every level that we could find, as many little labels on each package that we could find. Before I came across the book Zero Waste Home, and it's by Bea Johnson, totally changed our lives. That's where we really embarked on a zero waste lifestyle. The Montana experience put energy and motivation into finding our way of helping the environment and helping the future for sustainability. And this book really brought it to fruition of, here are the steps, really start room by room if that's a way that you can think through it, or just start by each purchase and really try to wrap your head around what makes sense. What do you need versus what you really don't? And not just what do you need, but what impact does that have on your immediate environment? How can you shop to help everybody in your current space? And COVID being a perfect example of the time, small businesses going out, now's a good time to be looking and have an idea of what can give you what you need without a lot of waste. And definitely we got bogged down in the beginning by how much we were trying to eliminate buying as well as how much we were trying to eliminate, but it totally changed us. And it was tangible change within our bubble, within our household. And we don't want to be a part of that conveyor belt of consumerism that just is pumping out all this trash, that then it becomes a hobby to pick up trash and a community service to pick up trash. For us, it really developed into a big hobby. But
we kind of started the process like so many other people do by going out and picking up trash, right? Instead of it's evolved into we reduce our own trash, but it started with how can we make a difference? So it's go pick up trash. And like Amy said, it became a hobby, and we spent so much time in our favorite places, mainly bodies of water, going around. And Amy has this little claw thing that you see like after events, people go around and pick up all the trash. She has this thing and it never leaves her side pretty much. We have this reusable trash bag. And the first time that we did this, it was a Tuesday night. I remember we were on Lake Dillon and we had our boat out, and we just decided, all right, we're going to spend some time picking up trash. And we started going around, and before we know it, like first the bow of the boat is full of trash, and then we're like, all right, well, we'll fill up the stern of the boat, and then within 2 hours the whole boat's full of trash. And this is a pristine lake in a environmentally conscious town and county and state. And I just remember thinking, if we do this every day, or we do this once a week, I really think we could pull 20,000 pounds of trash out of this pristine lake in a conscious county and with conscious people. And it just it was overwhelming. It was really overwhelming. And I think it was kind of all part of the process of like, okay, we can pick up trash forever, but how do we make a tangible difference? How do we reduce the amount of trash that's actually getting out? And more so our part for the future would be reducing this as well as helping to pick it up.
Yeah, it really resonated as consumers for sure. And we both have a big family. They all have lots of little kids and want to continue to grow their families. And for us to look at it, we just want the environment to be here for all of our family to continue to grow and to have, good confidence in a healthy environment and a healthy ecosystem.
We're never going to be able to pick up as much trash as we put out, no matter how many. I guess if we all got together as an army and decided everyone in the country is going to go out and pick up trash for 5 days in a row, we're all consuming trash and we're all putting trash into the environment. So every day, every meal. So it would literally take the same amount of effort to pull it out. So that's not a sustainable really outcome. We have to really dive into our own households, our own businesses, our own lifestyles, and figure out how do we reduce this trash for the future generation, because we simply just can't pick it up at the rate we're putting it out.
And for us, it truly came in stages and steps. The book was number one. Number two was really looking at all of the waste that currently existed in the house, room by room, going through and just eliminating waste that had piled up, or maybe things that we just really weren't using and maybe we would use eventually, but let's try to throw it out first. And then if we want to replace it, we'll replace it with something a little better quality that will last longer if that's the case. I have yet to really replace anything that I threw out in those first couple of months. It was truly just piled up, which I think a lot of people really can relate to in our current environment of buying things. And some things just aren't meant to last very long, but some things you just buy in case you need it, and then you realize that you really never need it. We eliminated even buying plastic packaged meat. We couldn't find meat that they wouldn't process it and then put it in plastic. So we stopped bringing it into the house. I think part of being a good and environment friendly consumer is supporting local businesses, local restaurants that are bringing in locally farmed, low stress raised meat. And that's something I really enjoy doing. It was tough and still is tough to eat out and find a restaurant that really checks all my boxes off for the environment. But at the same time, it makes it even that much more special. And it turns it into a date night again. Instead of eating out every day out of convenience or out of just, oh, this is easy, let's just eat out. No, it puts a little bit more thought and a little bit more accountability on us to maintain the lifestyle and the mentality of it all.
And it really comes relatively easy. It is frustrating. It was at times. So Amy became addicted to this before I did. She got passionate about it before I did, and then I got passionate, and then she got addicted. And we were on like hard rules, no plastic in the house. And, I'm thinking, I'm doing a great job. I'm going to go shopping today. I'm going to get everything we need. That's great. But one thing comes into the house in a plastic bag, and your wife looks at you with those eyes, and it's just like, I screwed up. I went shopping, I got dinner, but I kind of screwed up a little bit. Now, I'm not the only one who saw those eyes and got that look. Her mom had a lot more difficulties adjusting to it than I did, I think. But so there's frustrating steps along the way. But for me, I think the big moment where I followed Amy from passionate to addicted was like 3 months in, maybe 4 months in. We just realized we don't need a trash service anymore. And I had the privilege of calling Mountain View Waste, our local trash service up here, and saying, we no longer need your trash bin. And, that was such a huge step for us, because you began to see tangible progress within our house, and we knew we were making a difference. And we were 3-4 months into this, and we literally had a crock pot on the kitchen counter, maybe this tall, this wide.
A bean crock.
Yeah. Full of, it wasn't even full. We're 4 months into it, and that's it. And, Bea Johnson in her book, she has a family of 4, and she was filling up, even less. Mason jar. So we knew we could get better, but I really became addicted to it when I was called that trash service, and it's like, we don't need your can. We don't have to get up anymore at 6:30 on Tuesday and put it out. We don't have to worry about bears rummaging through it. Last winter, the neighborhood bear just destroying everybody's trash can, and we don't even have one. So it's like a huge stress every Tuesday morning to not have to go out there early or pick up your trash all over the place. So that's kind of when I got addicted and kind of followed Amy into it. And like she said, the first step was in the household.
Yeah, and like the book said, room by room. And honestly, for me, I guess I think I started in the bathroom first, and then I moved into the kitchen, and then I moved into our bedroom and the living room. But the bathroom was a tricky one, and we now don't live with Q-tips or cotton pads. I use cotton washcloths that are reused, obviously, every day and cleaned. All of our products I either make or we have nice local places like the Zero Market and Rocky Mountain Soap Company that we can refill and buy soap bars that are made with good organic products. I did toy with making my own products. And there are things that I still make myself that I just haven't found a better replacement for, but I enjoyed that piece along with it as well. And we started making our own dog food, and I needed a food processor to help me make that more efficiently. And I spent weeks looking for a processor in secondhand stores just so it didn't come in all the packaging. Sure enough, I bought a brand new one. Even months into our endeavor here, I just gave up. I decided that convenience outweighed the packaging at the moment.
Amy would scour every thrift store, every secondhand store
I'd always have a list of things that I needed, and some things I needed more and some things I didn't need so much, but
she would exhaust. It was a total exhaustion of all options before she'd buy anything new. You know, the philosophy came, if you can't buy it the way we want in a sustainable form, then you got to make it, or you have to build it. So we like finding things in our kitchen that most people have, you know, old school things, tortilla presses, pasta makers, you know, ways to make food. And she would scour everything, all the stores. And
a bread maker. I mean, you think about all the things you inventory your grocery shop when you get home, and you realize how many things actually come in plastic. And then you think to yourself, can I live without the crackers? Can I live without the cookies? Can I live without Cliff Bars, the bottled water? You know, which pieces can I just change and alter versus which pieces can I actually eliminate? And you do start to, your tastes change, your habits change, and it doesn't take long. It really, and you start to feel so much better. I got so much more energy, and I did lose a little weight. Not that I felt like I needed to lose weight coming into this, but. So
a lot of this stuff in the house, it can be overwhelming. It can be extensive. It can be, you know, you listen to us, and we're 9 months into zero hard solid waste and years into prepping for that. So basically, like, there's a few things that you can do in the house that are very simple. One of my favorite things to do and a way to eliminate a lot of waste. And the first question people ask about the bathroom typically is toilet paper. What do you do for toilet paper? And it's, to be truly zero waste, you really would have to eliminate toilet paper completely. And we haven't been able to do that yet, but we have implemented a bidet into all of our bathrooms and our office bathrooms. And I love it. I love it. It's a refreshing feeling. It cleans you up. You know, to me, you're not smearing your poop all over yourself. You're just cleaning it right up. And the amount of toilet paper that we've reduced in our house just through an order of a $30 bidet has been substantial, not to mention the amount of money it saves in toilet paper. And, you know, we found this product online. It's called Tushy brand. And they make a bidet that's completely sustainable. It comes without any plastic packaging. And it's easy to find online. And I think there's going to be a list of resources presented here as well online for you to check out and kind of follow along for these easy steps. But one thing in the household that I thought was very easy, and I thought it was beneficial to our health as well as our pocketbook, was the simple installation of a bidet. And they're very easy. They snap right on the toilet. Nobody even knows they're on there unless you're looking for it. So that, I love the bidet. It was an easy one to do, but that was a big step for us in the bathroom, and it felt good to accomplish less toilet paper.
Yeah, and I mean, to be totally honest, I typically use cotton cloths that get washed in the laundry, and it leaves you nice and refreshed, very clean. But on from the bathroom, the kitchen, I get a lot of pushback on paper towels. My mom couldn't believe that we got rid of our paper towels, and that honestly was pretty easy for me. And I just use cotton towels or, you know, t-shirts, old t-shirts that I would be giving away or have bleach on them or holes in them already. I cut them up, and I have a container with vinegar diluted with some water. I wipe all my surfaces off with, and I wash my rags, you know, in the same, you know, all my washing, you know, and water I understand is an important resource, but paper and everything else adds up too. And so we weigh our options and we do what works for us, honestly. And I think that everything comes down to thought, a lot of thought, and an encouragement for everybody to take a little thought as a consumer, really.
And it's tough to get it perfect. It's and you don't have to be perfect. You know, we've talked about not letting trying to be perfect or not letting perfection get in the way of progress and what we're trying to accomplish at the end of the day. So going back to thrift stores, searching, you can drive around forever looking for something, but eventually the resources you're using to drive around are no longer offsetting the negativity of buying something brand new. So as you're going through this in your own household with your own family, don't feel like you have to go all the way right away. Easy steps, 1, 2, 3, and and we'll have these resources for you also in written form, but just a few basic steps that really make it easy in your own household to get this done.
Yeah. Well, and you can make your own easy steps. I mean, I'm giving you a lot of options. Eliminating food waste instead of grabbing those little plastic bags to put your veggies in, or a plastic bag in the bulk section of your grocery store. Bring a cotton bag. There were a lot of restrictions during COVID, not being allowed to bring your own bags in. A lot of that's being lifted now. It's super nice. Less people are touching your stuff in general. If you get good at this style of grocery shopping, use a self-checkout and use your hand sanitizer. You bring it with you, or at least that's what I do. And I feel cleaner buying my food this way. Rice, beans, oats, snacks, things that vary throughout each store. We definitely map out our stores. In the very beginning of all of this, I had a map of all of our local farms that I was reaching out to. And now I more so have a map of my local grocery stores, and which ones are sourcing what from where, and which bulk sections have what I'm looking for, a spice section versus a good veggie section versus a good snack section. Every store varies just enough that you really start paying attention to. Another step would be utilizing your community supported agriculture, your CSA, finding eggs locally, your veggies, obviously, bread. Sometimes if you're not making it yourself, you really can shift your view within 50 miles of where you live in most areas. I'm not saying that for everybody, but certainly for us. And I think Dave touched on it earlier in COVID, or maybe I talked about it. COVID is a great time to be supporting your local businesses and your local farmers, for sure, and your own community's ecosystem. It's a good thing to support, not just Amazon.
Yeah, and once you start making a few steps, a few easy steps here and there, you start to feel this empowerment of change and of the same empowerment of like zero waste that we feel. And it gets easier and easier the more steps you take, and the more you start incorporating this into your lifestyle. And really, it starts, as we talked about, the wolf being a fundamental part of the forest. It really starts with a single person here too, and every single person doing just a little. And admittedly, we're at the beginning of this, I'd almost call it a trend, a zero waste trend. But the objective is to turn it into a movement, take it from a trend into a movement. And the way to do that is a little at a time. It's, everybody in their own household making a little bit of change here and there. It's this event itself, Sedona Wolf Week, working inside and with, or not working inside, but working. Let me take a break here. Pause. It's also this event and making big changes. Sedona Wolf Week itself is doing 3 simple steps this year to help make it closer to zero waste. And although it's a virtual event, there are still things that are going on throughout the event that they've done a great job incorporating zero waste. So it's people, it's businesses, it's small gatherings, it's virtual events. Waste is everywhere. And it takes just a little bit out of everybody to flip that switch and take it from what it is now into something that has the power to truly change things and make this a sustainable future for generations to come.
And We all find our own ways of helping progression, I think, more than anything. And I really appreciate people that take that power on as being the individual to make change and act on it, really walk the walk and not just talk about how you're not sure if your kid's going to have a stable environment. Start implementing some changes, supporting. I think that it's really, really important to support your farmers, support your businesses, and support all infrastructure that puts the environment first. There's so many things out there. News. The news that we follow is extremely environmentally driven. We hear about a lot of degradation, the Amazon burning, hurricanes. Extreme amount of hurricanes, high wildfire danger, obviously here in Colorado, California, damage, flooding and humidity crises that are causing a lot of human displacement. Urban sprawl is going to reach areas that are now growing food for the U.S., and that's just from climate change and people moving to avoid poor climates. And where we're going to get our food in the next 40 years is going to be a question that truly comes up. And I do believe that the consumer, we all have rights and voices, and it starts with our purchases. Really, business and futures tend to follow money, right? So if consumers get on board and drive the economy in a fortuitous venture forward, I think that us and the planet are really going to thrive in life and longevity together. We're truly all connected. And
this is such a critical time too, and a time of realization and how close we are as citizens or as people to make change and to change our ways of consumerism. We're seeing in our everyday news people uprising against racial injustices. We're seeing people get together and discuss COVID. We're seeing, all kinds of different ways people are coming together in this time of change. And it's a critical time. It really is. And we both believe that the power of the consumer can shift trends and it can change popular culture. And this is just such a big part of it. And especially in this time, we're realizing more that good health, good hygiene, healthy diets are all very important at keeping us healthy and keeping us safe. And as this kind of moves to the forefront in some people's lives anyway, it's even more important that we are conscious about our consumption and how we are consuming. And for Amy and I, really, once she started getting into these vegetables and started cooking like she does, it really became, the next step of addiction to me, because I began to see the health benefits. My digestive system had been trash for years, and we're getting rid of trash. We're getting rid of it. So this is a big thing for me, because now my digestive system all of a sudden worked. And, through some changes in our diet, and not only that, but what we were buying. And it's not just eating vegetables, but are you eating good vegetables? Where are these vegetables coming from? Where is the meat that you may be consuming coming from? And how is it farmed and sustainably ranched? And, so many people within Sedona Wolf Week are those ranchers and those farmers who are working with wolves in their environment and still producing this awesome, sustainable food. It's really been cool. And for me, I kind of think once we started getting into it, it was awesome. Once we got addicted, it was even better. Once I figured out how much money we were saving by Amy actually shopping this way, it really was like, all right, count me in for good. We made this change. And, it feels good. It feels good to make big changes for our planet. And, even kind of going back to what I talked about earlier with thrift store shopping, and maybe at some point your waste and your emissions become, not useful and unbalanced with your efforts. But you can really, I saw Amy kind of tie all this together, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like, well, you're going to drive all the way down to Fort Collins or wherever for this or that. But we started incorporating this into our schedule. Our niece lived in Fort Collins. Amy had a zero waste store she liked there. So once a month we go pick up her niece. We just took the extra time. We route the efficient map through the city. One of us may have a doctor's appointment in Denver. One of us may have, I don't know, we got to go get a new pair of shoes in Lakewood or something. But these stores are strung out. You see that on the map. And you just kind of tie it all together. I remember my grandma and grandpa, they lived out in the country somewhat. And it was a big deal to go to town, right? So it was every time they went to town, my grandma had this is where we're going, this is where we're going, this is where we're going, and then we don't have to go anywhere for another week. And I kind of just started seeing that back incorporated into our lives, efficient shopping, and it just all these different elements you see, and you're proud. I'm proud to see it make a difference, and the efforts we're making pay off.
When we don't take our resources for granted. I think that convenience and where our world is continuously changing, it's all, really to tie it all in, it is connected.
So before we wrap up, I just want to put you on the spot real quick. What's one thing people can do in their household today that you think is easy, make a difference, that kind of helped us along the way?
Well, I'll do better. I'll give you 3. But I do think that the first thing starts with consciousness. It truly starts with the thought. And even if the first week you go through and you're walking around your house and you realize, this is my 3rd plastic water bottle of the day. What do I need to do to eliminate this? Do I feel comfortable carrying my own around, or do I just need to be better at drinking water when it's available to me? There's options out there for every person and personality, but it all starts with the thought, knowing yourself and know what's going to work for you and not overcomplicate things. Number 2 is truly try one of those things. For us, like I said, we started in the bathroom, and for me, not using Q-tips was kind of a deal. And thinking about my little pinky finger scratching inside my ear, like, now I'm totally used to it, but initially it was a little bizarre for me to get used to. But I would say number 2 is pick something that you feel like it will either be a challenge for you to get rid of, or something that may be really easy for you, depending on your
and
personality.
Fun.
Yeah, and fun. Something that you just have a game with, right? And even if it starts a couple days a week, or if it starts just cold turkey, totally fine. Everybody's in their own path, their own venture. Number 3, I would say truly start to share it. The more you talk about it, the more ideas you get, and the more people that will jump on board and really start to understand what you're going through and be able to relate to you as well. And it will change the needle of consumerism. But overall, I just want to thank you for all your time. We're super happy to be here with Sedona Wolf Week 2020, and definitely check out all the resources available to you throughout this week. This is exciting. And
yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it starts with conversation. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to everybody about wolves and zero waste and sustainability. And
we're all connected.
If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Thanks for having us, and enjoy the rest of Sedona Wolf Week.
Hello, Amy and Dave. How are you?
Good. Yeah, doing great. Enjoying the show. What a wonderful production you guys have put together here.
Oh, thank you. And I'd like to introduce Jolie before we get started. She's with Apex Protection Project, a volunteer and interpreting for the deaf today.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Amy and Dave, you guys know that I just spoke with you briefly because originally you were going to be part of a different presentation. And after talking with you, I said, oh no, this needs to be its own presentation. People need to hear your story because it's so real, it's so everyday, and it was inspired by wolves. I mean, how amazing is that?
It really, it comes full circle here, and it's a great opportunity for us to be able to talk about our passion and tie it into, what wolves are doing, and the whole thing is so much based around the environment, both wolves and sustainability, both trying to balance it and protect it.
Yeah, I mean, wolves being a keystone species, they are very important to our environment, and I'm excited that Colorado has passed the reintroduction of wolves to come up, and it's an exciting time to live here and to be a part of the environment, as well as to really be trying to make strides in the environment, I should say, and helping everybody live and coexist together.
Yeah, big win this week for wolves here in Colorado.
I know.
We're proud of that.
Yeah.
I know. You guys got a lot of work to do.
We do. Get on it.
And I just want to say on a personal note, after our first conversation, now I walk around, in particular my kitchen. Oh my gosh, what would Amy think of this? Oh my gosh, what would Amy think of this? What would Amy do? And I think I told you I've already signed up for the composting company because I know my limits and I can't do it myself, but I'm hoping it helps the Sedona Compost Company also get it, really grow too, and help others in the community. So
that's so awesome.
And that's because of you. So there you go. My small step and many more. I haven't quite gotten to the Q-tip stage, though. I think I'll have to, have to work on that one. We've got some questions coming in. And, one of the reasons why I want everyone to hear you guys today is it's all about taking, small manageable steps, right? What happened with you guys, as we heard, didn't happen overnight. There were challenges. And so let's start with, we've got Cody Rowe, and they ask, what advice would you give to students or individuals in apartment complexes with low income, or I think they mean low income and low resources? So they don't have a vehicle, they're outside of downtown, they're restricted, the nearest grocer is 40 minutes away via a walk. How can someone on maybe a lower income or a fixed income still do zero to waste?
I would say look at the type of consumer you are. If you're in a small apartment and you're working a lot, do you eat takeout a lot? And then if you eat a lot of takeout because you don't have a full kitchen or because you don't have time to grocery shop, you may only do takeout once a day and then eat it for 2 or 3 meals a day. I've done that in my college career for sure. But I would say look at where you're purchasing from, really try to support your local businesses, your local restaurants. Look at the local restaurants that are packaging in compostable packages, really getting down to the nitty gritties of if you find your favorite Chinese place only gives you styrofoam, ask them, talk to them about it, because it will create thought and change for them to change their practices as far as how they're giving food to people, or open their minds to maybe you bringing in a container and then giving you food in your own container. I've found a lot of people willing to work with us, and a lot of ideas that come in from just talking about it, talking to your favorite places. As far as grocery shopping, I would say if you're far away on limited resources, really try to buy in bulk, try to buy as much as you can without taking up too much space in your living area, and really try to, again, support local businesses. Find your co-ops, find your local farmers, find your local growers that have things around and available year round. Your grocery store may be 40 minutes away, but your local farmer may be 2 minutes away if you're, if you're looking for them. It's
Yeah.
hard to say where you're at. But.
And if it turns out that the grocery shopping that you have set up or where you're going is the most convenient thing for you, it's also as simple as going to that same store and looking at the shelves and looking at all your options. If you're going to get pasta sauce, for example, question your favorite brand of pasta sauce. Look at it. What's in it? Where is it coming from? What's it made with? That's very important. And that stuff, you don't have to change anything about what you're doing, but you can make those small conscious decisions. Another big thing for college students that's handy is everyone's using the apps. So if you're going to order out, take out or whatever, Yelp, DoorDash, you can type in keywords like sustainability or farm to table in the search, compostable packaging in the search bars of these apps, and they will kick back search results that have those words in their description or on their website. So it's as simple as doing that too, and you can you at least be able to find if that's at least an option in your area.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great advice. Absolutely. You remember how amazed I was when you told me you don't have trash service anymore and you're down to like this little tiny. And could you give people 3 things right now, 3 easy things, even if it's like you focus on one room in the house? What are 3 things people can take away today and go and look at right now and say, if I make this small change, I'm already on my way to where Amy and Dave are?
It's tricky. I'll let Amy answer this, but while she's trying to come up with these 3 big things, I'll say that I think it's important to take a look at your trash can, see what's inside it, and just question that, as a first step, and say, oh my gosh, there's an awful lot of this in my trash can, whatever it may be, and try to work out a solution with your family or your loved ones. Talk about options, research online, replacements for paper towels, replacements for plastic bottles, deodorant.
Yeah.
These are options, and the world of Google is right there. So maybe the first thing is inventory your own trash and get creative. We're smart people, and come up with a better solution for the bulk of what's in your trash can would be a good first step.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I think for me, it was easy to get rid of paper towels. I think that it's super hard for my mom, at least, talking to her through it. And she still hasn't gotten rid of paper towels. But for me, that was super easy, And like I explained in the video, it's just using a cotton towel that I wash a couple of times a week. And I have separate cotton towels that I dip in my vinegar, and I have my own little process of doing it. But I think that's part of the fun of zero waste, is you create your own process and something that makes sense for you, that you really do feel like you're making a difference in. So paper towels for me was super easy. The dryer balls, wool dryer balls, instead of buying fabric softener that comes in a big plastic thing, or dryer sheets even, I love those little wool dryer balls that eliminates a lot of waste and chemicals.
Reusable coffee ground filters, instead of.
Wow. Yeah, we have one of those. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy everyday thing.
Yeah.
Look at the things you're doing every day and figure out what's creating trash on the daily and eliminate.
Each consumer is very different. So there's not going to be an A through Z for everybody on how to go zero waste. It's really going to start with exactly what Dave said, as far as inventory your trash, truly go through your trash can and figure out what you can get rid of in there. What can you switch to something else, or maybe eliminate altogether? And you'll find it's pretty incredible. It's really enlightening, and you learn a lot about yourself and what you buy and how you're living every day.
Here's another real good, easy one that I've realized lately. Most cities now, dumpsters, if you do have trash, you put your trash can on the curb. The truck comes, picks it up, dumps it over its head into the thing. why does it need bags necessarily? You know, why do you have 3 or 4 trash bags in there? You can have a trash bag in your kitchen. When it's done and you're going to go put it in the big bag, just dump that whole thing in there and keep the bag and reuse that bag. And then once a week, you could reuse a bag instead of 1 bag every day. You know?
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that. That's wonderful. Well, we're going to have to wrap up. But can you guys say your website again so we make sure we get that in the comments and people can follow along?
It's dibszerowaste.com. DIBS zerowaste.com.
Great. Wonderful. You guys are a true inspiration. You certainly have changed my life. Absolutely. And I have a long way to go to get to you, but I am trying very much to practice what I preach. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know both of you. And from the comments that are coming in, everyone has really loved your presentation today. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Betsy. You've done an incredible job. And I was just so humbled and felt just totally overwhelmed by being a part of it all. So I so appreciate you and Karen Bardeman and Hillary and Jess. Love those girls and excited to go forward in the future. We'll be back in 2021.
Okay. Well, yeah, absolutely. And fight for those wolves in Colorado.
We will.
All right. I'll talk to you both soon. Thank you so much.
You bet. Bye.